In 2014, China initiated its plan to attack 5 countries simultaneously by constructing military islands in the South China Sea within the borders of other nations without their consent. These artificial islands were equipped with ports, air bases, and anti-aircraft guns, indicating China's readiness for war. Remarkably, within just 2 years, China created a total of 7 islands in the South China Sea, posing a significant threat. As a result, experts from the U.S. military believe that these islands have the highest potential for instigating World War III. The root of this conflict lies in the Chinese Communist Party's CCP disregard for other countries' territorial boundaries. In this video, we will delve into the importance of the South China Sea to the world and uncover why China is willing to risk a global conflict to control this region. Before we proceed, I kindly request you to like this video. Recently, my content has been heavily restricted by the algorithm, and considering the war-related nature of this topic, I doubt YouTube will show any leniency. Your support by hitting the like button below would be greatly appreciated. The South China Sea is a highly contested body of water surrounded by countries such as China, the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Taiwan, Malaysia, and Indonesia. This area is estimated to contain around 28 billion barrels of oil reserves, 266 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, and it harbors 1/3 of the world's marine biodiversity. Consequently, the South China Sea plays a crucial role in sustaining the ecosystem, despite the alarming depletion of fish stocks in the region. Moreover, this region serves as a significant trade route, with approximately $3.37 trillion worth of global trade passing through annually. The Strait of Malacca and the South China Sea form the primary route for ships traveling between the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Generally, oil and minerals move northward, while food and manufactured goods move southward. As I've discussed in previous videos, China heavily relies on oil imports to fuel its economy and industries. Roughly 50% of Chinese oil imports originate from the Middle East, traversing the South China Sea. Additionally, as you may already know, China is the world's manufacturing hub, and a substantial portion of its exports flows through the South China Sea to reach markets worldwide. Based on these facts, it becomes evident that the South China Sea holds great importance for China. However, the question of ownership remains uncertain. Let's examine China's supposed claim to this area. Before we proceed, it's crucial to understand the international law that governs oceanic territories. According to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea UNCLOS, signed in 1982, each country's territorial waters extend up to 12 nautical miles, approximately 22 kilometers from its coastline. Beyond these waters, foreign vessels are granted the right of innocent passage. Additionally, coastal countries can establish an exclusive economic zone, EEZ, that stretches 200 nautical miles, approximately 370 kilometers from their shores. Within the EEZ, the coastal state possesses the right to exploit and regulate fisheries, construct artificial islands, installations, and engage in various economic activities. The CCP claims that this entire area belongs to China based on their assertion that a Chinese explorer discovered the South China Sea in the past. This reasoning is highly contentious, as it deviates from established international laws. By that logic, one could argue that China itself belongs to Italy because Marco Polo, an Italian explorer, discovered China. Obviously, this line of reasoning is absurd and lacks any legal or historical basis. China's insistence on the 9-dash line has created confrontational situations with neighboring countries. Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei also have overlapping claims in the region, but they have united against China's expansive claim. The South China Sea has become a hotspot for tensions and disputes due to China's aggressive actions, including the intrusion of Chinese vessels into the territorial waters of other nations. The Communist Party is constructing on previously unoccupied shorelines in the South China Sea. Over 200 Chinese vessels are currently anchored at Whitsun Reef, a disputed area in the South China Sea. These islands serve as an indication of China's claims to sovereignty over fishing, navigation, and resource exploitation. In response to China's assertive claims, several countries involved in the conflict have officially renamed the regions they claim. In September 2012, the Philippine president signed an administrative order mandating the use of the name West Philippine Sea to refer to the parts of the South China Sea within Philippine territory. Similarly, in 2017, Indonesia renamed the northern reaches of its exclusive economic zone in the South China Sea as the North Natuna Sea to assert its sovereignty. While these disputes persist, the Communist Party of China (CCP) has been engaged in constructing its own islands in the South China Sea. These are not ordinary islands, but rather military islands, equipped with military personnel, airstrips, and missile systems. However, according to international law, these islands fall within the territorial borders of the Philippines. In response, the Philippines decided to take China to the United Nations Court in 2016. The ruling from The Hague favored the Philippines, acknowledging China's encroachment on their land. Surprisingly, the CCP chose to ignore this ruling and has yet to put it into effect. Complicating matters further, the CCP declared the airspace above the disputed land to be a defensive air identification zone. They issued a notice stating that any aircraft flying through this zone would require Chinese permission. While China claims this move is for defensive purposes only, it has further strained relations between China and the Philippines. Additionally, there was another crucial aspect to the ruling that greatly influenced the entire conflict. As mentioned earlier, according to the law of the sea, each country's exclusive economic zone extends 200 nautical miles from its coast. In the middle of the South China Sea, there is a group of islands known as the Spratly Islands, which all the countries involved are attempting to claim. The main reason behind these claims is that by establishing ownership over these islands, a country can extend its exclusive economic zone and gain control over a larger portion of the South China Sea. However, in a 2016 ruling, the Spratly Islands were classified as rocks, thereby not extending any country's exclusive economic zone. This ruling diminished the significance of the islands, but did not lead to a resolution of the conflict. China has employed a strategy known as the cabbage strategy or salami slicing strategy to tighten its grip on foreign-controlled islands and restrict supplies to them. China surrounds a foreign-controlled island with its ships and destroyers, denying access to rival nations. Subsequently, China attempts to claim these islands as its own. In response to China's aggressive actions in the South China Sea, the United States, which has numerous allies in the conflict and possesses the world's most powerful navy, plays a crucial role in maintaining peace at sea. This is vital to ensure uninterrupted global trade. The South China Sea, particularly the historical rights within the so-called Nine-Dash Line, poses a significant threat to the long-standing U.S. commitment to freedom of the seas. This commitment has played a vital role in underwriting American prosperity and security, as it stabilizes international commerce, mitigates naval tensions, and guarantees equitable access to resources. If China is successful in undermining the United Nations law of the sea, it raises concerns about its adherence to other laws, and it sets a precedent for other countries to do the same.